I did it! I directed a pilot! Oh! Woo! Now, given it did happen 4 years ago, so it wasn't quite recent, but you know, it's not too late to share and talk about it, right? It's not too late to do that. The show was called Barely Professional, and it was about millennials in the workplace. I feel like when you're in your 20s, you know, you sort of like cruise through life not really knowing what you want to do. You're sort of like in this sort of state of like kind of figuring it out, like pretty much all the time. And that's kind of what the show tackles. It's kind of this like modern take on The Office, right?
I managed at Arby's.
Yeah.
And then it burned down, and now I'm here. You know? What about you, new guy?
Living in my parents' basement, and paying the bills isn't too easy when you're folding clothes at the Gap.
Great. So we all have degrees that we don't know what to do with.
And a pile of debt.
My fave.
On that note, let's go buy some lunch.
Spend some money we don't have.
Me hungry.
Luigi's sausage.
This project was an important experience for me. First off, it was awesome. It was a blast. It was honestly so much fun. But more importantly, there's a lot I learned. I learned a lot on that set. And so I wanted to share some things that I've gleaned, and hopefully you find it helpful. I'm gonna talk about 5 things that I learned directing this show. Don't pull it tail. It might bite you. You're so cute. Number 1, having a positive attitude. Honestly, attitude is so important, and not just as a director, but really everyone on a set. It's like one of those things that, like, you know, especially if you're sort of managing the team, it's one of those things that really trickles down. Like if you're upset, then the crew will see that, and actors will see that. Everyone's gonna see that, and it's gonna bleed into the quality of your work. Having a good attitude, having a positive attitude, having a can-do attitude, it goes such a long way. Because even me, someone who like hires people, I would rather hire someone who comes into it like eager to learn and jump in and might not be as experienced versus someone who's like, you know, Joe the Union Grip, who's like seen it all and doesn't just wants to go home. Sure, he could set up a C-stand and rig stuff, but you know, I honestly, I don't want that energy on my set. I'm sorry.
I'm having fun.
That's what it's supposed to be, right? Just blowing out. Okay.
Well, I've always wondered about it.
Take a hit. I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
Benji, dude.
Number 2, make your actors feel comfortable. Now, that might seem obvious, but a set can feel really chaotic. There's a lot of moving parts, you know. There's people setting up lights and camera, and art is dressing a thing, and everyone's moving around. The AD is like looking at the schedule, and it's like, you know, as a director, you're kind of like a little bit frazzled, and if you're talent, you know what I mean? It can feel a little off-putting, especially like actors. They're inherently like in a vulnerable state. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of need to remove your inhibitions and just kind of focus on your lines or your role or your character. And it can feel overwhelming, kind of surrounded by the chaos of a set. And so I think it's important to make your actors feel comfortable, right? And what does that mean? To me, it means just being present, right? Being present with your talent. You know, just kind of bring them in. Like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Hey, you're doing great. Guys, we're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna crush it. You guys are both beautiful people. The director-actor relationship is really a collaboration more than anything, right? Actors aren't puppets, you know, and they're creatives. And the reason you cast a certain type of person for a certain type of role is because you want to see what they bring to that role. And so You know, it's like giving them the freedom and the flexibility to kind of infuse their character with themselves. I mean, it's important to kind of establish a sort of environment.
Now listen, I know we don't really hang out much, and I don't really even know you. But I can see you're hurting. So why don't we do this? Later tonight, come by my place. We'll bro out, grab a couple beers, just chill, watch the game.
Number 3, feed your crew. Feed your crew. Beyond feeding your crew, treat your crew. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about pizza or Subway. Yeah, everyone loves pizza. I know you love pizza, and I know I love pizza. It's a crowd pleaser. Honestly, if you don't like pizza, I don't really trust you as a human being. You know, here's the thing. Pizza's cheap and it's great, but it really bogs you down. You know what I mean? You eat a few slices and you fall into this like carb coma. And it really just like slows down your vibe, slows down your energy. Setting up the stand, putting the light, marking the focus. You can't have that, you know? Not only can't you not have that, but on this set, right, on this pilot, it was a super low budget project. And so we couldn't really afford to pay people proper rates. And so we had catering, right? And it was every single day, right? And it was great, right? Different options every single day. We had breakfast every single day. Coffee is a must. And, you know, it makes such a big difference, especially on low budget sets. So if you're making something you have no budget, please, like, I would encourage you, like, at the very least, splurge on that. Splurge on meals, splurge on food. Because it's a direct boost to morale. Direct boost to morale. And morale is everything. You know, back to number 1, positive attitude, good energy. You want that to keep going. And if you skimp on that, it's sort of a slap on the face. That's how I see it. Feed your crew.
I'm trying to talk to you.
To explain my side of the story.
Oh,
You stole my
Oh,
story.
now this is about you?
Here I am.
Everything is
sitting
about
there
you,
doing,
isn't it, when it comes to your fiance? That's
Do
all
not
I
bring him
freaking
up.
hear.
I'm
You
gonna-
want me to shit all over you right now? Because I will go in.
You're jealous
I'm
because you're alone.
What am I jealous
you're
of?
single, and all you do is sit with your cat every Saturday night.
My cat is
drive
great, and you
to
said
Kate
so.
Hunting.
You're not
You
putting
started
anything
yelling
into your
first,
work.
and
All
I'm
you're
very
doing is
happy.
everything
I'm
about
very
yourself.
happy.
Number 4, communicate, communicate, communicate. 99% of all issues you'll run into on a set can be fixed with just communicating with your team. A lot of directors might assume that their team is on the same page with them, but things slip through the cracks and you lose time and you go behind schedule and people get pissed and it's a slippery slope. In the case of this pilot that we did, there was several times where, like, you know, I was the DP on this too, right? And so part of the strategy we had was to, while we were filming a certain scene, pre-light the next space, pre-light the next scene ahead of time, pre-dress the scene ahead of time. And so to effectively communicate with, say, your lighting team or your art team, we kind of ran into that issue where, like, you know, I just sort of assumed they kind of knew what was next and sort of like, I might not communicate things clearly. And so it's like we were getting ready to set up for this one shot, but the lighting was set for like the reverse or something like that. And so we had to like change it really last minute, and it was just like a headache, and we lost time, and I didn't do a good job of clearly communicating what I wanted, right? And that's on me. That's the thing. If you're directing, right, and something goes wrong, it's on you. You need to take responsibility, you need to take accountability. And it comes down to communication. Communicating with your AD, right? Making sure, hey, these shots are coming up next. These are the next setups we have. This is how much coverage we need. Communicating with your script supervisor, making sure that we're covered. These things make a big difference in terms of how the day is run.
ABC, always be closing.
Right.
Take them to Pound Town. Gadush. All right? First thing I do when I get in the morning, brew my coffee. Come back to the desk, catch up on my emails, all right? And then after that, it's a little poopy time, okay? All right, during a little poopy time, Tinder, hottie toddies, trying to find them. Second thing, Bumble, there's babes on it. Crushing leads. Right. That's me swiping.
Which leads me to number 5, which is pre-production. Yeah, boy, yeah. Tal, what's pre-production? Great question. It's maybe another video, but the gist is putting the pieces in place to make your shoot go as smooth as possible. If you have multiple locations, securing locations. You need to make a shot list. You should make a storyboard. You should come up with a game plan so everyone knows, all right, this is the plan for the day. This means connecting with your DP and your AD and kind of making sure ahead of time, before the shoot even starts, that you're all sort of on the same page. So when push comes to shove and you guys are on set, you're in sync. You're in sync and you know what's what and you know what's going where and you know when it's to be set ahead of time, right? And this goes back to communicating with your team, right? It's kind of like simpatico. Thing is, with this sort of like YouTube content creator generation, right? There's a lot of folks, probably you're included, where you're just maybe used to just picking up a camera and going. Picking up a camera, we'll figure it out. Sure, it's possible to kind of go in blind and just sort of like figure it out on the day, but it's probably gonna be a little sloppy. On a shoot like ours, we had like 27 pages to shoot in like 3 days. So we had to knock out like 9 pages a day, which is a lot and it was ambitious and it was a lot. It was a lot. Because we were so limited in time that we had to be on top of that kind of stuff, So pre-production. It's gonna make or break your shoot 100% of the time.
Dude, I love you, man.
What? You mean that?
I know we didn't.
So those are 5 of the things I learned directing this pilot. Now, probably the most important thing I learned that I didn't mention on this list is it really sort of cemented what I want to do, which is directing for TV, directing scripted comedy. I feel like directing can be seen as self-serving in a lot of ways, but to me, it's you're sort of pioneering this collaboration, which is what every film or shoot or show is. It's a collaboration, right? Between every actor on set, between every person on the crew, and you are sort of the unifier. You know what I mean? You sort of drive the experience for everyone on the set. And the reason I bring that up is because I don't get to direct something of that caliber very often. But I have been developing another show, another pilot, the past few months. It's called Psychic School. It's also an ensemble comedy with folks from all walks of life who discover these like dormant psychic abilities, get recruited into this like underground psychic academy and learn to sort of hone and utilize these skills that they have. And tomorrow we're actually launching a campaign, a fundraising campaign to kind of raise the money to make it happen. So if you found these tips helpful at all, then check out our page. I'm gonna put the link in the description and consider supporting the project. That being said, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment and all that jazz. I love you all. I'll see you soon. I promise. Well, promise is a strong word. I'll see you soon.